Yeah, not imagining this at all. We lost a series to the Chicago White Sox. We lost a 3 game set to the Chicago White Sox this weekend, losing in the final game of this 3 game set by a score of 10-5. Oof. That's terrible. It's just our offense this series has been so abysmal. The fact how much we play down to our opponents is not even funny. It's honestly, I'm just losing words. I'm just losing things to say about this ball club because it's literally just repeating myself every single time we lose a ball game. And every time, single time we win a ball game. We lose, offense wasn't good enough, the pitching wasn't good enough, the bullpen blew another game, or bullpen just wasn't good enough in general. Or if we win a ball game, the offense was good. Someone on our starting pitching staff shut down the door and went at least 7 innings. Or our bullpen shut it down. And there's always that little amount of hope they can possibly grab on. It's things like that that you keep repeating. And you keep saying the same things about this ball club. And what more can you say? There's not much to say else with the Phillies right now. It's just they're not that good. They have the talent, but they're not good enough. They're not good enough to compete with teams, I would say, like the Los Angeles Dodgers. They can't compete with the Braves. They shouldn't be able to compete with the teams like the Cubs and the Brewers, but those teams right now, teams in the Central, they're underachieving. They're not playing up to standards. And that's why the Phillies are still in this thing. That's why they're going to be in this thing till the very end, because the wild card race is so close and tight right now because of all the teams that are just not playing up to standards. If teams like the Cubs and the Brewers were playing up to standards, the Phillies would be nowhere close to the wild card. That's just how it is right now, and that's reality. The Phillies are going to be in this thing till the very end, and we're going to have to watch this frustrating, inducing baseball team for the rest of the season. But it's still, in my opinion, I'm losing interest in this ball club because I'm running out of things to say. And just losing a series to the Chicago White Sox, it's just even more embarrassing. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. It's just, I'm going to keep saying this. I'm running out of things to say. And the Maikel Franco thing that happened before this ball game, I'm going to talk about that after because I want to talk about that more than the ball game itself because the ball game itself was just terrible. We had Drew Smyly on the mound, and he was due for a game where he didn't pitch as well as he did in his first few starts with the Phillies. He gives up 5 runs. He gives up a grand slam in the second inning. That second inning is where he really struggled. He was having a tough time against the Chicago White Sox lineup. And even though he does strike out 7, he did settle down after that second inning. That grand slam basically took away the game for the Chicago White Sox. And the bullpen wasn't really that much either. Miner comes in, he allows 4 runs. Parker comes in, he allows a home run. And the White Sox, they were just pounding our pitching today, and we were put in no position to win, and also our offense didn't really put us in a position to win this ball game just because of how much our offense struggled this entire series. I mean, I can talk as much as how I want with how many bases loaded chances we had in this series, to where we could have scored a plethora of runs, but we didn't. We should have won the game on Friday, we didn't. We got lucky winning last night's game with Aaron Nola on the mound. It's just our offense. The offense has the talent. This lineup has the talent 1 through 9. Some reason they're just not meshing together. They're not clicking. We have guys like Harper. We have Realmuto. We have Hoskins. We have Segura. We have Kingery. Why? It's just that I see a lot of other teams in baseball. Teams like the Brewers, great offensive team. Teams like the Dodgers, even though we're nowhere close to the talent that the Dodgers have. Teams around the MLB in general, just crushing home runs out of the ballpark, scoring a ton of runs each game. But then here we are, struggling to hit the ball out of the ballpark while we're allowing home runs every single game. It's just the same thing. Like I said earlier, I'm just running out of things to say. I'm running out of explanations because I can't think of anything. Because honestly, I'm losing interest in this ball club. I am. And going through this ball game, like I said, Drew Smyly had that tough second inning. He allowed 5 runs. 1 was a grand slam. And we do score runs eventually. Cesar Hernandez gets an RBI single. Scott Kingery gets an RBI single. And Also, Corey Dickerson, his first game starting in the lineup for the Phillies since the trade, he gets a meaningless home run in the bottom of the ninth inning. He had himself a good game, actually. He was our best performer, I would say, out of the entire night. Even though his home run was meaningless, he had the best night offensively out of anyone. And even though, yes, Dickerson's going to be a key piece going down the stretch because of his offensive potential, because he's hitting 316 this season, but it's just going down the stretch, this team is just really frustrating, and everyone can agree on that. This team is very frustrating to watch. And this game just basically explains our season, how frustrating this ball club can be. They're losing series to the White Sox. We're the bad teams in the MLB. Like how many series we lost to the Marlins this season. We cannot beat teams that are under 500, and we cannot beat the contending teams. It's just, we're in the middle of the bunch, and we're still in this race just because of how much underachieving there is in the National League. It's just reality right now. And just going through the stats in this ballgame, like I said, Dickerson, better offensive night out of the whole lineup, goes 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs on that home run. Segura gets blanked, he goes over 5. Bryce Harper goes over 2 with 2 walks. Rhys Hoskins blanked 0 for 4. JT had a multi-hit night, he went 2 for 3 actually. Cesar Hernandez goes 1 for 4 with an RBI. Scott Kingery goes 2 for 4 with an RBI. And also Roman Quinn goes 1 for 4. And Roman Quinn's starting to get more time in the lineup now. So, and it's just, right now I'm just speechless because I can't think of anything to say. Because it's just, this ball club, I'm running out of things to say for this ball club. And it's just, like I said, I'm losing interest. And yes, I'm still going to watch every single game because we are still in this thing, and it's going to be a frustrating ride through the very end. But no matter how much we're in this thing, I'm still going to watch this ball club because I'm a Philadelphia fan. I'm going to watch my team to the very end. And just it's going to be very frustrating. And we go out on the West Coast this week, go to Arizona, we go to San Francisco. We got Vince Velasquez on the mound tomorrow, so you really don't know. It's basically a coin flip with him, whether you're going to get a good outing or a bad outing from him. And it's also going to be just a difficult week in general because being on the West Coast, there's a lot of late ball games. Arizona games start at 9:40, I think. And when you go out to San Francisco, games I think are at least that start at 10:15 on the East Coast. So a lot of staying up late watching this ball club. And I think what I'm going to do for those games, I'm probably going to do a review the morning after, just because of how late it'll be to post a video. I think it'll be better to do the morning after when posting reviews for that. So that's something to look forward to this week instead of me getting tired the entire night after a ball game. I'd rather just get to sleep, look over the notes, and just do it in the next morning. So off this ball game, before the ball game actually started, we sent Maikel Franco, our third baseman, we optioned him to AAA, his last option out of his contract. And I'll say right now, I am ready as the next guy to move on from Maikel Franco, but this is the wrong time to do it. This is the wrong time because we really have no other option. Sean Rodriguez, he's not the same player he once was. He's old. He's starting to dwindle down. And you can make the argument that, okay, he's a better bench player, but Sean Rodriguez isn't that good of a baseball player. I would say Maikel Franco would be more of a beneficial player off the bench with his bat. And yes, Franco has not lived up to the potential that he was built upon so many years ago when he was one of our top prospects, has not lived up to that potential whatsoever, and he's been basically a disappointment ever since. And yes, I am ready as the next guy to move on from him, but it's just, why? The one question I asked is, if you make this move, why wouldn't the front office Clintac, why didn't you decide to trade him during the trade deadline, get some pieces back for him? Why decide to hold on to him and then make the decision to send him to AAA? Because that right there basically says you're done with the Maikel Franco experiment right there. Because I think right now they're going to commit to Scott Kingery at third base while Corey Dickerson starts the rest of the season in the outfield. And I feel like it's going to be a platoon system between Roman Quinn and Adam Hazley in center. So right now, Scotty's going to be playing everyday third base. And this basically is going to open a spot next season for Alec Bohm, our top prospect. But it still just boggles my mind. Why do it right now? Why do it right now when we're in this race? Franco is still a key piece to this lineup for the rest of the season, and you throw him down into the AAA. But yes, I am ready to move on from Franco, but not like this. I would have waited. I would have traded him at the trade deadline, or just wait till the season ends and just don't bring him back. It's just sending him down to AAA was not the move, and that was a dumb decision by the front office, Matt Klentak. And you can also say the same thing for Gabe Kapler, McPhail, because they do work as a collective group. They're a trio when it comes to working together and making decisions, so they probably made this decision collectively for Franco, which is a dumb decision, honestly. It shouldn't have been made. We're technically in a playoff race for the wild card, and you're getting rid of one of our key bats in the lineup. So, it was a dumb decision, and now we're relying on Scott Kingery every day at third base, which even though I would prefer, I would at least want Maikel Franco coming off the bench. At least. But now we have to deal with Sean Rodriguez off the bench still, Andrew Knapp. Andrew Miller, I'm fine with. Not Andrew Miller. Brad Miller, I'm fine with, but still. It wasn't the right decision. But I'm ready to move on from him, but it wasn't the right decision. So, what are your thoughts on this ball game? What are your thoughts on the Maikel Franco move? And what are your thoughts on going into this West Coast trip to Arizona and San Francisco? And what are your thoughts on the Phillies? Just, are you losing interest, or are you going to keep watching them till the very end? So, don't forget to leave a comment, don't forget to drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.